The learning is Nishmas Etta Ahuva bas Yaakov. Maseches Nedarim Perek Dalin Mishna Vav. Hamudar hana mechaver. If someone is not allowed to have hana from someone else because of a neder, so Reuben can't have hana from Shimon. Lo yashilenu, he can't lend to Shimon. V'lo yishal mimenu, and he can't borrow from him. So borrow, we understand, because he can't have hana from him. But why by lending him is it a problem? So the Gemara says, either it's talking about that it was Mader Zemizeh, they each made hana that they can't have hana from the other one, or it's a gzeira, which the Rab brings down over here, that teretz, it's a gzeira that we're afraid that he's going to come to borrow chafetzim from him. So Yashilena v'lo yishal mimenu is talking about lending him chafetzim, and then the Mishnah says v'lo yelvena v'lo yilav mimenu is talking about lending money or borrowing money from him. And it's the same thing, it's a gzeira, we're afraid you can't lend him money because we're afraid they're going to come to borrow from him. And lastly, you can't sell to him and you can't buy from him. And this, the Ran goes through that it's totally in what we said earlier in Perek Gimel Mishna Yud Aleph, that there are certain items that are harder to sell and certain items are harder to find to buy, and depending on which one is either more beneficial to the lekeach or the meicher. But over here, it's either way is aser, again, because of a gzeira that you're going to do the opposite. So now the rest of the Mishnah is saying a totally new halacha. The gabi, the kavana of someone making a neder. What's the case? Amar loy hashileni parasecha. One person goes to the other person and says, lend me your par. Amar loy eni panuya, it's not available. I'm using it for my own work. I can't lend it to you to do work on your field. Amar, so he gets upset and he says, I'm never going to use your par to plow my field. So was his kavana only for himself, or was it that his workers won't use this par either to plow the field? So the Mishnah says it depends on what he normally does. If he normally does it himself, so then he only wanted to aser himself, who aser, but v'chol adam mutarim, but his workers could plow the field. But if he never does it, usually his workers does it, then his kavanah was to aser everyone, both himself, who v'chol adam asurim, and everyone else is aser to plow his field. Mishnah Zayin. So Mishnah Zayin and Mishnah Ches really go together. Today we're only going to do Mishnah Zayin, but it's going to be 3 Ifanim, 1 in this Mishnah and 2 in the next Mishnah, that if someone's mudar hana mechavera, like a way out, how you could possibly get something from him. So this Mishnah says, you need food, and you want to get, Reuben's trying to get food from Shimon, but he's not allowed to have hana from him. So what does he do? He could go to the Chemini, and he says that I'm not allowed to have hana from this person. So the Chemini will give it to him, and the Chemini will go ahead and get paid from the other person. But the Rav speaks out that the Chemini is sort of taking a chance over here because he can't force him to pay, because it's not talking about a case where he said, Ten loy vani efra, that you lay out the money and then I'll pay you back, because that would be usher, because that would be mamash shlichus, that would be considered as if I'm getting hana from him. The Mishnah continues. So the Mishnah continues. Let's say he wants to help him build a house, he wants to help him build a fence, or he wants to help him harvest his field. So in a similar thing, he tells the workers that you do it. So the workers will do it. It's a chance that they won't get paid back from him, but since they didn't speak it out specifically, so there's a chance that they won't get paid back, but it's not considered having hana because it wasn't a deal. There was no deal saying, Ten levani efra, that give it to him and I'll pay you back. And this way, Reuben will be able to be getting hana from Shimon.